attention, please. First of all, there's some seats down here in the front row. This is just like church. Nobody wants to be in the pew. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's State of the County program. This is sponsored by the Chelsea Reporter. My name is Frank Kotop. I'll be the moderator. I am a political writer for the newspaper. First of all, if everybody would turn your cell phones off and put them on vibrate, please. I'd like to thank our 5 elected officials for participating in this tonight. How does it work? I will introduce them. We'll ask each of them to make a presentation to you, and they can do that however they choose on their past record, their ambitions, whatever. We ask that they keep those down to about 5 to 7 minutes. After that, there will be a question and answer period. And how we will conduct that is, if you have questions you submitted, I will get the questions. I will call on you, call your name, say you have a question for the commissioner on road conditions or whatever. At that time, you can stand up and ask the commissioner what your question is, for an example. So that's how we'd like to proceed tonight. First of all, I'll make the introduction. I have Kim Henry, who is the court clerk for Mays County. We have the Rogers County Sheriff, Scott Walton. The assessor, Scott Marsh. We have the Tri-County District Attorney, Dennis Stiley, for Rogers, Mays, and Craig County. And we have the District 1 Commissioner for Rogers County, Dan Delosier. And also, I'd like to thank Dan for hosting this tonight, and hope everybody enjoys it in this facility. He's proud of it, and he wanted us all to see it. So at this time, we'll go ahead and get started. And Ms. Henry, we'll start with you.
I sat down here to be last. My name is Kim Henry. I became the court clerk in 2013. And I originally, before I became court clerk, I was a DA investigator working for Mrs. Stiley and for Gene Haynes for 8 years. And a few of the things that we've changed in the court clerk's office is we're now scanning online. Some people like that, some don't. But it's a lot easier for the law enforcement agencies and like the district attorney to be able to go in and access records that we have scanned, and they can go in and look at them. And also the general public. I think what else we've done. We got a fax machine. A lot of the attorneys like that. We've also, we'll be starting May the 1st taking payments over the phone. So people won't have to get out and come in and make their court cost payment. They'll be able to do it over the phone. And then the Supreme Court anticipates in 2017 all district court clerks will be filing across the internet to where the attorneys can file directly from their offices, and it will cut down a lot of the traffic in our office. And it will be set up like the federal court system. I'm from Rogers County. We moved here about 16, 17 years ago. My husband's the game warden here, and I have 2 children, Chloe and Cody, and they attend Sequoia schools. That's about it. I'm up for election in 2 more years.
Thank you. Is everybody here okay, or should we use the microphone? Here?
Sorry.
Okay. Sheriff? Sheriff Scott Walton?
I've got some handouts here, so I won't bore you with just reading to you like but I do want to go over just some of our accomplishments and the things that the Sheriff Department's focused on. And we can just hand these around and maybe give you some facts there. The focus that we promised a few years ago was to stay after our career criminals, and I guess we can just simply define those as those individuals that choose not to engage the workforce and victimize people in Rogers County and other areas that continually do this. We see them repeatedly, and it's pretty easy to see these. If you really look at our population of 88,000 people in Rogers County, it doesn't vary that much from county to county or city to city. That's still a short number of your population that victimize the majority of the people. But we see a lot more movement between people who have incarcerated from Tulsa or other areas, as well as we did a little comparison with our jail and Tulsa County Jail, where we see that we've got Rogers County people in Tulsa County Jail, and obviously Tulsa people in the Rogers County Jail. It just tells a story that, you know, the thugs moving around and the police officers don't as much. So obviously we rely a lot more on the relationships that we have with these surrounding areas, and so far that's worked very good. You know, our focus again to stay on the career criminals. We're desperately trying to put more deputies on the road to enhance our response times and give people what they expect. People's expectations are that somebody, if I would only guess that most of you in here haven't needed the sheriff's department that much to run your daily lives. You know, some of these houses you go to frequently, but when you do need us, we want you to show up there in a short amount of time with somebody that knows what they're doing and take care of business. And if your stuff's stolen or lost, we recover that, and the bad guy goes to jail. And that's a very reasonable expectation. It's just sometimes hard to provide that with the staffing levels. I mean, so I don't think anybody will ever hear me shut up that we need more people, we need more cars, we need some resources, and what we continue to ask for. Our FTO program, our Field Training Officer program, is something we've tried to stay focused on, and in that we can incorporate our interest on career criminals and it becomes a part of that training deal where the newcomer to the sheriff's office gets introduced to the people that cause the problems here in Rogers County. We want to see a stronger presence, obviously, in the areas where we have crime. You know, I live in the extreme southeast corner, and here we are in the north end, the last two pieces of Rogers County that have what resembles agriculture left. You know, we've got a very populated county. I learned this shortly after I was elected that Rogers County Sheriff's Department serves the largest population of all 77 counties. When I first was told that in Oklahoma City at a school, I said, no, that's not right. We're Rogers County, you know, and I think of Tulsa County and Oklahoma County, these places like that. Obviously, they're arranged in a different way. We have the small municipalities and the larger outlying areas that it's housing additions and densely populated housing additions that have people there instead of cows that need response time. So obviously we struggle to give that populated county what it needs. Adam Hall's here has part to do with our canine and programs we've taken to the school to educate these kids as far as, we always talk about drug education and that kind of stuff, but the presence of somebody being at the school, running the dog through the school, that presence there and a relationship with the kids I think is pretty valuable. I certainly want it to be an accomplishment in my time here to have at least one person that can serve as a school resource officer to serve these outlying areas as Sequoia and Boyle and Justice that have no municipalities to respond to. So we definitely need that. Our presence in drug court has been good. The relationship we have there has been very effective. Quinn Tucker and Virgil Carter do a lot of the home visits and keep up with the offenders and the people in that program. And we've enjoyed quite a bit of success. I'm not going to go through here. I know there's probably more than 50 people here, and if you can kind of share these, and there's some stats in here that I'm a little bit proud of, and I can't say enough for our small task force. We've got what we labeled the Thug Task Force, and I'd like for people to think it's a lot bigger than it is. Maybe not for everybody, but I certainly want the message to be out there that are evildoers and our career criminals think of this task force. And by listening to our jail conversations of inmates talking to their loved ones outside the jail, they talk about the task force. And they do have a misconception that it's a lot larger than what it actually is. And I think there's a lot of fruit in that. I'm not reluctant at all to stand up in front of a camera and tell what the sheriff's office done. And actually, I'm just bragging about what people like Adam and these guys gals that work hard and put these people in jail. They've done their job, and I want the thugs to know it more than anybody that maybe Rogers County's not the best place to come and do your evil. I want you to pay particular, if you would read one thing on here, and it's just, we're bragging about some people that we put in jail, and it names them, and they've been arrested, and we're good with that. One right up the road here at Okie Mart. In this case, you know, forever, we heard, hey, they're selling the synthetic there. K2 comes from there. Everybody's getting it, and we certainly knew that. But the changing laws that deal with synthetic drugs makes it very difficult to work this case. I think we, as far as I'm concerned, we hit a home run up there, done well. Obviously, he's back in business, changed names, everything's still the same, but I think this case will be a precedent setter as far as what becomes of the sale of synthetic drugs. And, you know, interesting story, the morning we went up there to run that search warrant, and we had several agencies with us and spent the entire day up there and run another warrant simultaneously on his house in Owasso. But right as we're walking up, there was a customer walking in, but he wasn't a customer. He was a guy from Foyle area there. His child had got a hold of some of this stuff, had some seizures, and he was on his way up there to give Mohammed what he needed. You know, I wasn't bragging about saving Mohammed's life. We probably got there just a little too soon, but we'll see how this thing plays out. Our evening shift just hit, and we've had the one-pot meth labs are nowhere close to gone. We hit one just out here by Snyder's Cemetery a week ago Saturday night. The guy was cooking chunks of thing when our evening shift guys were in the process of serving the warrant. We've had a little bit of a slowdown in property stuff up here. I want to say we have, unless there's something that I'm not aware of on report-wise. I'm looking out here, and Mark Delozier still talks to me. And, Bacon said hi to me. So hey, I mean they've had their share of being victims, and you know, it's amazing when you see somebody in jail and a crime stops. You think, gee, maybe the fact that he's incarcerated is the reason we're not losing hay and equipment. We had a good success story the other night with a tracking device, and we've got more of those, and we're going to get more, and I hope we can get that to a point that maybe this is a little exaggeration, that you could set a trailer out here with a four-wheeler on it and stack $100 bills, and somebody drive by it thinking it was just bait. But we had some success with it the other night. The mini storage had been there 6 days. They finally got it on the 6th night, and just talk about the mobility of criminals. We had one of the trailer thieves was from Owasso on the Tulsa County side. One was from Bixby, and the gal that was with him was from Disney or Langley. So, you know, here's the deal where, I mean, obviously that wasn't the first mini storages and trailers that they've stolen. So, our goal is to continue to, you know, build the human resources part of the Sheriff's Department and have the equipment under these guys and gals that they need to do their job, increase response time. Our tip line, and I see people here that I've worked with and got information from, and their efforts are to support and work with the Sheriff's Office. And when that little triangle of when the businesses and the citizens and law enforcement can work together creates a really cool little triangle, and it helps us. Our tip line, we've got some really good information on it. I encourage people to use it. Obviously 918-341-3620. It's on our website. We're trying to get a little bit more social media stuff out there on Facebook and see what people want and, you know, what they know as far as just a little information on cons and scams and day-to-day interests of the Sheriff's Office and the community. So hope people have some questions for me. I'm ready. Kim ducked the questions. I'll stand up here and take them if somebody's got them.
Okay,
You didn't
we'll-
duck the question. I'm just saying.
We'll do the questions and answers after all five of you.
Very good. Then I'll wait and get my questions in.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Excited.
Okay.
Next, we have the Rogers County Assessor, Mr. Scott Marsh.
Good evening, everyone. I guess it's pretty much covered everything. We can all go home.
Told you not to go after him.
My name is Scott Marsh. I'm your county assessor, known to some of you as that darn assessor certain times of the year. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in central Illinois, just outside of Peoria, Illinois, in a small town called Washington, Illinois, that was actually hit by a F4 tornado. You saw it on the news earlier, or later in November of 2013, and so little information there on that. I've lived in Rogers County for almost 18 years. My lovely wife Jamie is here. We've been married for almost 18 years, and I've got 3 children. 2 of them have graduated high school or in college, and one of them is still in high school. And so that's a little bit about myself. About the assessor's office, what we do in the assessor's office is we set value on property. We are not a tax collecting office, that's the treasurer's office. We set value. We do not raise funds for the county or for the schools. That's not our job. We set values. So in other words, what I'm trying to get to is that the assessor, a good assessor, has to have that mindset of what you're to do is set a value and not be someone who raises money for it. You can't have that mentality. So that's what we do. So we're 100% guided by state statute. We're governed by the state statutes, and everything that we do in our office can be found in Title 19, 62, and 68. And if anybody ever needs any information on our laws and stuff, you can call our office, and we can get that information for you. Everything is directed by statute. There are 2 types of property in Rogers County that are assessed, and actually all 77 counties. And that's known as real and personal property. Of these accounts, there are over 50,000 records total. I think there's 56,000 and some odd to be exact. So we have a staff of 14 people, including myself, and we stay busy. And I can talk for all of you up here probably, we're as good as our staff is, and we've got an excellent staff. So if it weren't for them, the place would be a mess. So I've got an excellent staff. I like to halfway joke around and say that mine's the best in the courthouse. So believe that. We do have a really good staff. Very helpful staff, and we work hard at what we do. So of those 2 types of property, I said is real and personal. Real property consists of residential, agricultural, and commercial. This is how we break down those areas. Personal property consists of businesses and agricultural or farm. And the personal property is, many of you, since we live up in this area, have agricultural renditions that you turn into our office every year. That's state statute driven, as well as the businesses. You turn in your renditions, and everything's pretty much a matter of fact. It's the equipment you have, you render. We have books that tell whether it trends or depreciates up or down in certain ways, and we have an excellent staff that handles all of that. Our property is visually inspected once every 4 years. The misconception is that we set value once every 4 years. That's not the truth. We actually set the value on every property in the county, whether it goes up, down, or stays the same every year. We visually inspect every 4 years, meaning that by statute, we have to physically go out and look at every real piece of property in the county once every 4 years. And that's divided up into 4 sections of the county by parcel count. And every 4 years, I have to render that information to the state of Oklahoma, and they either approve or disapprove or deny that rendering of how we're going to conduct our visual inspection. I believe that we're the only, well, besides the commissioners, we're the only office that actually works off of 2 separate budgets. One is what's known as the assessor's budget, and the other is the visual inspection budget. The majority of the visual inspection budget is paid for by the schools. They actually reimburse for our visual inspection side of our budget. Property tax wise, kind of getting off into the treasure side a little bit here, but I'll do that anyway. About 75% of the taxes you pay go to Rogers County Public Schools, and then the rest is divided between the VOTEX, the county general government, and the health department and stuff like that. So that's kind of a gist of how our office runs. I'm a little bit better about taking questions than giving out information, so I'm looking forward to that. And at this time, I'll stop with that and give it to Jean.
Our next official serves 3 counties. Her job requires that she is over Rogers County, Mays County, and Craig County. It's our district attorney, Janice Stidley.
I'm Janice Stidley. I'm your district attorney. As was stated, I have 3 counties that I represent, and I believe I'm the only state agency here. I technically work for the state. The population that I cover is over 180,000 people, so it's a little different since I have all 3 counties. Some of the things that I've done since I've come into office is, one, I have done prosecutorial assignment, meaning that I've divided my prosecutors up to different categories of crime. So it makes it a lot easier when law enforcement has a question, whether it's on a drug case or a sex case, that they know the prosecutor they need to call when they're out in the field or have a question to see how they need to proceed, so we can have the best case possible for us to review to see if we can file charges. So I think having one prosecutor handle a case is very important, and they handle it from beginning to end typically. The other addition that I've made that I'm quite proud of is hiring Gary Stansel. He is my sex crimes investigator. He has almost 40 years experience, over 30 years in sex crimes. He's retired from the Tulsa Police Department, and I noticed that we needed somebody. Sex crimes are very hard to prosecute. A lot of times there's not much evidence that you can collect because it's just not there. And so I hired Gary. He is there to assist all the law enforcement agencies within our district, and he has the absolute capability of also taking a case and working it from beginning to end. We received a particular case into our office approximately 2 years ago, and when the prosecutor looked at it, it was a sex crimes case, a lewd molestation. He just knew with what the suspect did that he felt there was probably more victims out there. So he got with Gary, and Gary went out and worked it, and he was actually able to get approximately 6 more victims located that we successfully prosecuted the guy on. So I think Gary is a great asset. He's worked over 40 cases since he's been with me. Unfortunately, he's very busy, so it can be an unfortunate thing that we have that many sex crimes, but fortunate that we have them for our community. Tommy Dunlap is another investigator that we have. He specializes with drug investigations. He recently, within the past year, headed up and participated in the Hard Rock, where they recovered over almost 2 pounds of methamphetamine, and he had about 7 different agencies involved. Everyone worked together, and they were able to get the job done and get a drug dealer off of our streets, plus others through setting up buys. So he has been very good on that. We have been, in the past year and a half, I've been to almost every school in the district, middle school and high school, speaking to the kids about drugs, showing them what it does to you. I have pretty graphic photos to let them know what it looks like when you do methamphetamine for, 6 months a year. I also go over the criminal statutes with them. Just because you're a minor doesn't mean you will escape criminal penalties. Now we are flipping it, and we are out in every district. I've already done Craig, I've done Rogers, I'm doing Pryor this week, and talking with the parents and the guardians and school teachers and anyone who works with children, and telling them what the signs of drug usage are, what they need to look for. A lot of times parents don't even know what K2 looks like. And K2 is a big problem that we're having throughout our district, truly throughout our state. So that's a big topic that we are covering. We're telling them what it looks like, what it smells like, how kids act. So parents and guardians and grandparents can see what's going on if they have an issue, that they can get it addressed. The other thing I think I'm quite proud of within our office is the alternative courts. Since I've taken office, we have developed Veterans Court with the assistance of the judges, Judge Condren, Judge Steidley, and we just marked our first-year anniversary. And what we began to see as we were getting reports in on veterans, people that have served our country, and they either have an alcohol or a drug problem, a lot of times with mental health issues from their service, but they weren't qualifying statutorily for regular drug court or Anna McBride court that we have. And so our office, along with Judge Steidley and Judge Crossing, got together, and we kind of parented Tulsa County Veterans Court, which has been very successful. We are very proud. We have had people that we wouldn't have been able to help, and I think we owe it to our veterans, and I think I'm very proud of that. Our bogus check program has been working very well. Since I've taken office, we have collected over $700,000 for our merchants, and that is something that we've been very aggressive with. To me, that's just like stealing from you. They wrote you a check for the goods and services, and so we have been aggressively tracking that and going out there and arresting the people. So I think that has been very beneficial to our community. Recently, I hired a community outreach coordinator, Michelle Lowery. She's been with us since December. And since then, we will take on any kind of nonprofit organization within our district who needs help. Recently, we just raised over $5,000 plus a trunk load of a wish list for the Children's Advocacy Center that we have here located in Rogers County. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the CAC, the CAC handles all children that have been sexually abused. In the old days, it used to be children had to speak to the law enforcement officer about what happened, and then DHS got involved and they had to talk to them again, and then they come to our office and talk to us. This is a streamlined where they have someone who is certified to do interviews with children, and they are just taken to the CAC. So it really lessens the stress and the trauma to children. And the CAC here, we have all the children from all 3 counties go there. So they just got a new building and needed funds and needed a wish list, and so we got on that. The next program that we are getting ready to do is the Veterans Court. Judge Steidley approached us that there are several veterans who, you know, with whatever their situation was, might not have gotten a discharge to where they can get the benefits they need because alcohol or drugs came into their life. And now that they have successfully been in drug court and successfully completed it, we're going to be trying to help those people be able to get the benefits that they deserve for supporting our country. So we're going to be working on that next, and any kind of community issue. So if anyone does have an issue or a nonprofit organization that you need help with, just let us know so we can help. Since I've been in office, we have filed over 4,000 cases within our district. That is just misdemeanors and felonies. Our office also represents deprived actions, delinquent actions, mental health actions, plus we give advice to the county officials, so plus traffic tickets. So it does keep our office busy. I have 10 prosecutors that are within the district. With me, it's 11. I have a staff. With the staff, it's over 30 employees throughout the district. And I will concur with Scott that if it wasn't for my staff, there is no way that we would be able to function. They are absolutely dedicated and do a fantastic job. So that is it, I think.
Next, we have the Commissioner for District 1, Mr. Delozier.
How is everyone tonight? I listened quite a bit here, but I'm not going to talk very long. I'd rather ask or answer your questions than talk a whole lot. What I do in Rogers County is maintain District 1 from Highway 20 that goes to Pryor all the way to the Craig County line, and from Mays County line to the lake is all my district. I have a very large district, over 500 miles of roads, 47 active bridges, I don't even know, 1,000 other drainage structures throughout the county. We maintain our roads, we work hard. You know, these people want to talk about their staff. I've got the best. I mean, you can tell these guys did this work. I didn't. I just work here. But what we do here is we built this shop. We maintain all of our roads, our bridges, and then I go to the courthouse. And down there, I think everyone can read in the newspaper what we do down there. 3 commissioners are the bean counters for this county. We take care of all the money, or we try to take care of all the money. We help with the budget. We watch what goes on throughout the county. You know, a lot of people will say that a county commissioner is only elected by 1/3 of the county, but he maintains the whole county, and they're correct. That's, you know, I have my district that I have to. That I work in, then that's where I get my votes from to stay in office or get out of office. Either way, but the rest of these folks have to go all over the county. Their whole county, they've got the whole county and some of them other counties. So I feel very lucky to be in the district that I live in, and I've lived here my whole life. So I'm not going anywhere. Thank you.
The first question we have is from Mr. Marshall Doherty. Marshall, you didn't put who you want, so you'll stand up and address your question to whichever official you want.
I guess I'll address my question to the main bean counter here. That it concerns finances, and I've read a couple of articles recently in the newspaper about various counties in Louisiana and in Illinois that are getting ready to go bankrupt unless they really raise property taxes and income taxes on the people in the particular counties, and they're looking at raising them up to like 75% from the previous year. And what I wanted to know, it deals with the pension funds for the employees and how our pension funds look for our employees, say through the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, we run through Oklahoma Public Employee Retirement System, which is OPRS, through the state. And from what we understand, they're changing things all the time. They've changed the retirement for elected officials, not just mine, but for all elected officials. When I came in office, at one time, you could draw up to 112, 115% of what you make now. To become an elected official, you can't do that anymore. They've taken all of that out now. So any new elected officials, 2 years after I took office, the District 2 commissioners that was the end of, if you were elected then, you could get what they call an elected official's retirement. You can't anymore. So it's really changed. I don't really think OPRS is in any trouble. They're just trying to back up now and make sure that there's money there for retirement.
So it's not underfunded at all? It's funded throughout, say, 2020?
I would like to think so. As far as we know right now, it is. You guys all right with that? I'm not the only one here, so.
Does anyone else care to comment on Mr. Doherty's question? Or opposed to the commission? It's up to you.
Well, I know that compared to some states, instead of the taxpayers in a roundabout way do pay for it, but out of the payment that we, our wages that we earn, we pay into that every month, into that system. And the changes, I think the state's kind of looked ahead, so to speak, and they've made changes along the way too, so that we didn't run into those problems. So I think it's pretty safe this time. The state of Illinois, coming from the state of Illinois, a lot of their problems dealing with this is because their state, that there's Cook County, Illinois, which is Chicago, and then there's what they refer to as downstate Illinois, which is all the peons that give their alms to Chicago. So that's why the state of Illinois is in such trouble. They don't have they have a lot of hands dipping into a lot of their funds and not enough to show for it. So that's kind of, Oklahoma's done a good job of looking forward and taking care of those issues.
We hope,
Yeah.
so far.
We're asking that if you all would come up to the mic there. I just having some trouble here.
Hey,
Yeah.
question.
Go ahead, George, stand up
According to
so we can hear you.
According to the Tulsa World, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, the state legislature is saying that that fund is way underfunded by something like $100 and some odd million. So they're looking at ways to cut this thing down, so I don't know what, I just want to bring that out. Maybe the world doesn't know what they're talking
Just
about.
as a comment, or you wanting someone to respond to that, George?
I don't know how they can respond to it.
There's not a whole lot to respond to there, George.
Okay.
I think it is, there's probably some underfunding there, but I think they've taken the steps, like I said, in the last 4 years to start trying to slow that down. And I think they'll get it back under control.
They're even talking about taking some of the firemen's pensions away,
Well,
reducing it.
that won't be right. If it comes to that, I don't think it will. I hope not.
Okay, you satisfied with that? Next question we have is for our district attorney, Ms. Snidely. This question is from Marcia Wolf. Marcia, you here?
Yes.
Would you address your question, please, or do you want me to read it for you, or? Okay.
I'm just wondering what you feel your duties are as district attorney.
In what capacity? As a prosecutor?
Yes.
As a prosecutor, I believe that my duties are when we have a case, to have the best evidence for a case and to protect the community and seek justice.
Why did you state on television that your duties were to protect the criminals?
I don't ever remember saying my duty is to protect the criminals. My duty is to
You did.
protect the community.
You did. So I dropped it. I couldn't believe you'd say that.
I would
always under
I
the
would have to
understanding that
I
DA
would have to see what
prosecutes.
was this an
Correct.
interview? Of course that's my job. What interview was this?
It was on TV, Channel 6, I think.
And it was me talking.
And you had an attorney with you.
And I had an attorney with me. I believe you are talking about the federal case, correct? What you are talking about is the Sunday case. And I have stated that my job is to protect the community. And if that means the suspect, when there is not evidence to support it, then that is my duty. And that is my ethical duty as a prosecutor also.
I thought that's
Ma-
what his attorneys did.
No, ma'am. If I have evidence as a prosecutor that shows that a defendant did not commit the crime that the officer is alleging they committed, I have an ethical duty to disclose that to the defense attorney. And if I don't, I could lose my license. And there are right now prosecutors in the state that are being suspended. And in fact, the Supreme Court has recently stated in a suspension which happened within the past 8 months because a prosecutor failed to disclose exculpatory evidence on a defendant who was tried and convicted, that because that happened so many years ago, they are not going to take their license, they are just going to suspend them. But if that would have happened now, they would have taken their license. So I do have an ethical duty to people who are charged with crimes to make sure that I give them all the evidence that can show any exculpatory towards them. So yes, I do have that duty towards criminals, and that is an ethical duty. It is not only a statutory duty, it is an ethical duty with the bar. Just as if your child was being charged with a crime or your husband was being charged with a crime, and I had evidence to show that maybe your child or your husband didn't commit that crime, would you not want that evidence?
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever heard of that.
That's been a big problem. It's been a big problem. But I, as your DA, I'm going to do that, and I have done that.
I also have another question.
Yes.
Rogers County, I've heard, I just moved here
Mhm.
2 months ago. I've heard there's been a lot of rape cases. And that you have said that they were consensual.
And I
If
think,
your daughter was raped, would you say it was consensual?
well, I mean, I don't think that that is a fair question. Here are the situations that I think you're being told. When you have a minor child that is involved, and you have a minor child that is a perpetrator, what I need to look at is, are they truly a perpetrator? When you're dealing with another minor child, okay, you're dealing with a child and a child, I need to look at as a prosecutor, am I dealing with a perpetrator, or am I dealing with a child who has been victimized and now is perpetrating? I have to look at that. And I need to make a decision of whether they are a perpetrator that needs to be charged because they are committing a crime, or were they a victim and they're committing crimes.
Could you not do an investigation before you accuse 2 girls of saying it was consensual?
You need to tell me a specific case.
My granddaughters,
Okay. And that doesn't help me.
Bill Jones.
Okay. You want to talk about the Jones case?
Yep.
Okay. The Bill Jones case was a case that the sheriff's office investigated. While the investigation was going on, they contacted my prosecutor, and they were laying out the facts. And with those facts, we had children and children together, okay? And there was no force that was shown, okay? At least from the investigation. Doesn't mean that there's still not a crime there, but we have consensual acts going on with underage children. So when the investigation was done, it was also a statement by the sheriff's office that maybe this is not a crime, maybe this is something DHS needs to get involved with, okay? Based upon that, one of the suspect was put into detention. The Office of Juvenile Affairs approached my prosecutor and let them know that there's more to this story than this one child with these 2 girls, and informed of the situation in court. Based upon that, because there was a circle of children that this activity was going on with, we wanted to do more of an investigation. And I actually put my sex crimes investigator on it. But unfortunately, because it was made public, the parents would not allow us to interview their children. And we do not
I
have...
object to that.
You can object, sir. I'm answering her question,
You
and I'm
never
not
talked to
talking
me.
about
You
your
never-
daughters.
You never called me, you never
No,
asked
sir, I
me.
did.
Sir,
Yeah, we see
sir,
one
I would
person.
just, okay, let's keep this,
I will not be called a liar. I will not be called
Mr.
that.
Jones, I haven't called you a liar. I'm talking about
Let's
the
get the straight
suspects
story
in the
straight.
case.
I went to
Mr.
the
Jones, we did everything. We had you come to
Yeah,
our
24
office.
hours after you
My
got the report, you
prosecutor-
come back and said my daughter's consented, no charges. You
That
had to
is
let
not
the
true.
suspect go.
We declined it for further investigation.
Yeah,
Because when you
investigation.
have
What did your
children
office do to
on
investigate?
children, we need to make sure that it is truly a perpetrator and that child is not a victim. And I'm sorry that you have so much anger. There's
Anger?
nothing
There's
I
no
can
anger
do
to
about
it.
But I have to follow
DA
the
that
law.
prosecuted
And
this
I
case
don't have
said there
any-
was enough evidence in the report that Sheriff Swalton's office turned in to prosecute those boys, all three of them, right then.
There was only one that was under investigation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Frequent. We want to keep this going. We don't
We
want
have
it
a
to
lot
just
of,
turn
yeah, we have
to
more
an attack
questions.
by
We
one party.
appreciate all the questions. Appreciate the answers. Thank you.
There's a question here, and I'll read this because I think this applies to everybody. As elected officials, do you think you have to pay property taxes? Have you ever had any of your taxes overdue? Let's start with the commissioner.
Gee, thanks. Do I think I need to pay property taxes? I'm no different than the rest of you. Yes, I pay property taxes. Have I ever been delinquent on my property taxes? You'll have to ask my wife, and I'll have to say. But I will say, no. She takes care of that, and no, I know we've never been. Your turn.
Okay. Property taxes, no, I mean, of course, we pay it. We own several properties within this county, we pay it. I know I was put on Facebook as I haven't paid my property taxes, that my husband's mother died, and we are having some estate issues, and yes, it hasn't been paid in a couple of months, and we're gonna be paying our 1.5% that is due. But that is my husband's, and unfortunately his mother died. But of course that's been on Facebook that I haven't paid my property taxes, but you know, that's just estate issues that you have to deal with, and we are dealing with that. But we've always paid our taxes, and if not, we would be held accountable just like anyone else.
Thought you all want to continue with this. About your property taxes, you're a bit overdue.
Property tax. Well, I'd have to call my mortgage company. I'm sure they pay because they pay my property taxes. I pay them and then they pay it. So it's kind of nice, you know, each spread it out through the year. Unfortunately, that's not the case for individuals who have to pay one check, you know, when you're not paying through the mortgage. I look at it as a necessary evil. All 50 states have property taxes. Oklahoma probably has, depending on the year you look at, either the 4th or 5th lowest property taxes in the nation. Property taxes to me are not the area that we need to fight right now. It's income taxes. I do not believe we should have state income taxes. I don't believe we should have income taxes at all. We didn't have income taxes in this country until the late 1800s. Believe it or not, so it's not even part of our original Constitution. Yeah, my taxes are paid, and at least I hope they are. I haven't got any notes from the treasurer's office, but I look at it as a necessary evil. So yeah.
I pay my property taxes and I pay them on time.
And yes, I pay my property taxes. My husband actually tries to get me to pay them early, but I wait till the day that you have to go in there and get to start paying them. He likes to do it when he gets it in the mail.
Just say Mr. Zellner. Yes. Would you like to ask your question, please?
Okay, my question is fairly simple. I read in the paper where the district attorney hired a public relations person and I want to know if this public relations person's salary is paid by us or by you.
Her title is not public relations, it's the community outreach coordinator. Many district attorney's offices have them, and it is paid by the state, just as every other coordinator is by every other district attorney's office. Yes.
What is their duty? I mean, what do they do?
She, as I stated, she is helping any nonprofit organization. Like we help the CAC. We're getting ready to help Red Feathers, who is a nonprofit organization in Veneta that does fundraising and different events for the different charitable organizations in Craig County. We are getting ready to get with the VFWs to be helping the veterans in Veterans Court. So it's just what the title says. It's a community outreach. So it's someone, I've wanted a person like this for about 2 years that can help the community and allow us to help the community with different organizations to get them whatever they need. For instance, in Mays County, one of the commissioners called us and somebody took stop signs down. They thought that would be funny. She was able to get it to the news media and get it out in the public that, look, if you live on these roads and you notice your stop sign gone, it's not gone on purpose, so please be using that stop. So she has done that, and we have told our commissioners any kind of safety issue, anything that you have going on, that is what she is there for. Yeah, and Tim Harris has one, Oklahoma City, many of the DA, several of the DA's offices have an outreach coordinator. So that's what she's for.
Referring to Tim Harris, you're talking about the Tulsa County District.
Yes.
I have a question. Matt Wilkin?
That's me.
Okay. Would you direct your question to Scott Marsh, please?
Well, it's kind of directed to all of them, actually.
Okay,
Do you
that's
believe
fine.
that the county, Rogers County, would benefit from a county budget board? I don't know if you know the definition of the budget board or what it consists of. Several other counties do. Well, 10 other counties have them in Oklahoma, and some of them are the biggest one. Tulsa County has it, Oklahoma County, Payne County, etc. have them. And I wonder if you knew it would be a benefit to Rogers County, and if you know the pros and cons of a budget board, or if you can elaborate.
For the limited knowledge that I have on budget boards and what I've researched in them, which hasn't been a lot, but for the limited knowledge I had, which can change on, the more knowledge I gain. Sound like a politician up here. No, but I do believe in it. I believe that the more minds that we can have working with that much money and deciding where it can go, in the votes, because it only takes when you're talking about 3 individuals. I'm not.
Yes, you are.
That basically can decide, and if you have 2 that have a beef with an office, they can make it rough, whether it's on an office. And I'm not saying that that's going on or anything. I'm just saying that I think that each office should have an interest and a vote
Right.
on the money that they spend.
Yeah.
Especially, because some offices around the state, are very free with their money, and some offices are very conservative with their money, and with their budget. And yeah, you can vote them out, but a lot can happen in 4 years that can wreck a county. So I guess my answer is, with the information that I have right now, I would support.
Well, I know that the
budget
only way
board for
a
Rogers
county
County.
budget board can come to fruition is if 2 of the 3 county commissioners vote for it
Right.
and say yes. I just wanted Dan to go on the record now. Would you,
Gee, thanks, man.
or would you not, vote for a budget board? Do you think, because
Let's get back to the question before we get to whether I'll vote for or not.
Okay.
There are pros and cons to a budget board. I don't think anybody, if you've looked in much to a budget board, there are pros and there's cons. I've talked to commissioners around the state that some have passed a budget board and wish they wouldn't have. Some say they wish their county could go to a budget board. There's pros and cons. I have no problem working with the elected officials. I work openly with all of them at all times. I'm not gonna go on record and say I'm for or against right now, because it's never come close enough to one that we really explored it and found out all the good and the bad. And would I be open to it? Sure, I'm open to listening to the elected officials. I'm one of them. They got elected by the whole county. I got elected by a third of the county. As Jerry Prather, the ex-sheriff, used to tell me all the time, I had to run the whole county. You just had to have a third of it. So there is good and there's bad, and I'd like to, if it comes to it and it's pushed hard enough, yes, I would look at it and see what's best for the county. That's all we're here for, is the people of this county. It's not about 3 commissioners. It's about the people of this county.
Dan, with this board, then you would not be working as direct as you do now with the different
No, we would still,
office heads?
the
or
3
would it
commissioners
still-
would work just as much with
Just as
everybody,
close?
but we wouldn't approve the final budget. The budget would be approved by the budget board, which right now we have what they call an excise board. And that's 3 individuals that sit on an excise board. By statute, the commissioners take a final budget. We have to balance a budget and take to the excise board. They either approve or don't disapprove. Some counties, their excise board looks at it and says, no, we're going to do some changing on this. But it's something that we go to the other elected officials and department heads with, and we have to be able to balance all of the money that we've got in that county to spend at that time. If we can come up with a balanced budget, we present it to the excise board for approval or disapproval.
Which also the board consists of the 3 commissioners, the county assessor, the treasurer,
What order? are you talking?
the budget board. If
Oh,
the budget board is
board, sure.
established,
It would
you know,
be
the sheriff
it'd be
office has
the
it.
3 commissioners, the assessor, the treasurer, the sheriff, and the county clerk. Is the court clerk on? Would they be on the budget board?
It's all elected officials, the way I understand it. I'd love to talk about this anytime.
Well, we don't have.
ahead.
We don't have.
Okay, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I think there's 7 counties in the state, and I'll probably be wrong on this, and that's the last number I'll quote.
There's 10.
Uh-huh.
There's 10 now.
Okay, there's 10, and I don't know when those other 3 come on, but I've had several conversations with John Wetzel, the Oklahoma County Sheriff. They obviously have that in place there. I certainly see more good than bad out of it. And we look at the people we elect to manage a county budget or taxpayers' money, you know, anything that's entrusted to us. And why would any of us not be willing to share that responsibility with all elected officials of the county? And I look at, and I'll be complimentary of, I mean, I always think, when people say, what's your county commissioner doing? I said, well, I must be doing a pretty good job because we got pretty good roads. And we do have good roads, and we're blessed in Rogers County. You know when you get into Craig County, you know when you get into surrounding counties. And we ought to have good money. I mean, the money is there to provide those roads. And I think Danny's a very good steward of his resources down here. I look at the benefit of that voice being spread out across the county in those different offices, because I'll be the first guy to sit up here and scream as loud as I can that I don't have the resources that I need to do my job and provide what people need, response times, training, staff levels. We get somebody hurt, twist an ankle, maternity leave and everything, and we're upside down immediately. And I'm not saying a budget board would immediately give me everything that I needed, but I certainly don't see a downside to it. And I wish people paid more attention to it. I would be a strong supporter of a budget board. And I missed this earlier, but I want to introduce my undersheriff, stand up, John Sappington. Susie Jones, slide down her seat. She's our administrative assistant. Deputy Scott Burrows, Chelsea boy right here. And Adam Hall over here around the corner, Chelsea boy, and I hope I didn't miss any of my folks, but I'm proud of these people. Make my job a lot better.
I have a question, and probably this should be directed to the sheriff and the commissioner. I don't know if I'm sure all of you are aware of it. For a long time, Chelsea had their own emergency dispatching. You had a dispatcher in Chelsea that dispatched your police, your fire department, that type of thing. Rogers County recently went to a county-wide 911 center. Some surrounding counties like Mays County have already done this. My feedback is there's some problems, and I would like first, if Sheriff, if you would address it, and then Commissioner, if you would, because I think you both have ties to it.
I almost wanted to bring this up as part of my stuff. I thought it was getting a little windy, and I cut it short and left 911 center out. Dan and I might differ on this. The concept by itself is great. The concept, or I mean, not the concept, as it's established right now, and I've been critical of it, and I'll keep being critical of it, we've got a very inferior product that's not funded well. We have it, it's run by a director that, there's nothing personal there, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you people I have any confidence in her abilities to run a 911 center. I make the comment, and I'm not exaggerating much, I think we get some places more by accident than we do on purpose. And I live here, my family's here, all the family that I got left live in Rogers County. And when we rely on that center for police, fire, and ambulance, when you call 911, all you need to know that whatever emergency responder is coming to you as quickly as they can for whatever problem you can. And ours is probably more needy. I mean, fire department, I mean, the need is still there. It's a different style of dispatching, as is ambulance and medical stuff and everything. But we are so far behind in what we need. And when in the Sheriff's Department, I certainly want this to be on record. The Sheriff's Department is just a user of the 911 center like any of these other agencies that rely on that. It's not a product of the Sheriff's Office. And I still get the calls from people that are dissatisfied if they can't get a hold of somebody, or they didn't get the call, or something bad happened. I've got no say-so in that other than representation. It's an inferior product, and I think we're going to mess around and get somebody hurt. I personally am looking for any way to get off of a train wreck that hadn't quite happened yet, and if I can find another way and have the financial support to do that, I will certainly jump at the first minute I can, the way the situation is now.
My turn? Well, you know, we have issues with the 911 center. Anytime you put something together, you want me to stand up? I'll stand up. Anytime you put something together like this, you're going to have problems. Say again?
That's he said.
Okay, we know we have issues with the 911 center. There's no doubt about that. We built a new center. We're moving into it. What Mr. Kodoff said was, you know, all of these centers have gone. They haven't. We only have a small amount of people in there until we get a working model in place that's going to work for everyone. And that's what we're working towards right now. We know we have issues with it. We're going to have issues with it. I've never heard any 911 center that doesn't have a lot of issues. You hear Tulsa's all the time talking about Tulsa's 911 center. We're going to have issues until we work through some of the problems. It'll happen, but you know, it's going to take some time. So we're not asking everyone to come on right now, because we're going to get a good working model in place before we do. We've talked to Scott, we've talked to Mr. Sappington. We've got issues that we're going to work through, and we'll get it done.
So then it's actually say that, for example, Chelsea has not rolled over.
No, Chelsea's still actually Verdigris, police and fire, and the sheriff's office is all right now that's on in the new center.
Okay, I stand corrected.
That's right.
And will the commissioners be responsible for this new center directly, or will you have?
For now, yes.
Okay. Do you in the future plan to have a coordinator or a board or body between you?
We're working right now on a trust board to run the center.
You know, I think everybody would realize that's very important, because it can impact everybody's life. We're talking about emergencies of all types being dispatched from this center. So I think everybody should pay attention to this in the news media, newspapers and everything, and follow what's going on. That's just my opinion.